Mark Tucker, thank you very much for speaking with the Banking Conversation today. You're now Group CEO of AIA, the listed entity of AIG in the Asia-Pacific region. You're also one of the doyens of the insurance industry worldwide, and the listed entity is now one of the top 5 life insurers globally, all within a very short period of time. I want to start by going back to the basics of the insurance business. The basics of the insurance business can be described as the agency network, the investment portfolio that you have, and the distribution capability. At the time when you listed the entity in Hong Kong in 2010, there had to be a lot of work to be done to rehabilitate the agency network. How would you describe where the AIA agency network is today in all of the countries that you work in?
I think you're right in terms of the significance and importance to us and our main and prime distribution channel. It is the agency. It's the agency channel, and that's very significant. If you look at the quality of agents across the region, it is enormously strong. I think the legacy that I was fortunate enough to inherit meant that we have had a tremendous history. The quality, the professionalism, the dedication, the loyalty, the commitment of the agents across the region was immense. I think if you look at the circumstances, they'd been through a very tough time. I think the Greenberg accounting scandals, the whole elements with the global financial crisis, the potential bid, all of this I think was deeply unsettling. And to a degree, the IPO just drew a line in the sand between the past and the future, and I think gave the agency significant confidence of AIA's independence and its future position.
But also as a business, you've had to trim the agency network and trim in terms of the benefits you were passing down and how much of the business that you wanted to originate directly and in that sense. So how would you describe the use of the agency network going forward and the relationships you're going to have? And in some countries, your agency network is operates almost like a union in itself. They respond very aggressively to any initiative at the business level that you put on them.
Well, I think the agency, as I said, is the key channel for us. Our relationships with the agencies across the region is very strong. It's a proprietary distribution channel. It's a channel that that many of us have worked with for 20, 25 years. So we have deep experience and understanding of the mechanics of how agency works. And I think we've seen agencies across the region, without exception, to be very supportive. And I think the indications of that, if you look at indicators, are 2 very important ones for us. One is activity level, i.e. how many agents are active, i.e. selling cases, and then productivity. Once they're selling, how many cases and how big are the cases. And what we've shown you in the first 6 months of this year, in the results a few weeks ago, was that activity was up 9%, productivity was up 17%. These are both very strong indicators of good relationships, and the company and the agency are absolutely aligned.
And given all the experience with the Prudential attempt to buy into AIA, what have you had to do from the time the entity was listed in Asia to today to rehabilitate the agency relationship? What specifically have you had to do?
Well, so I think the basis, the listing was very important. The listing just drew the past and the future very clearly. Do that dividing line very clearly. I think we have an immensely strong agency, we have an immensely loyal agency. I think the conversations have continued. There's nothing exceptionally being done. I think it is the uncertainty in the agency was more macro related than it was micro related, and clearly circumstances have changed very materially since over the last year, where we have listed. We've gone onto the Hang Seng Index. We've become one of the largest components of that index, and the stock and the company has performed strongly.
Let's move on very quickly to the other leg of the business, the investment capability and your prowess as an investment house. And to some extent, the failings at the AIG level and the learnings that the institution has taken on and what it's going to look like going forward, especially now with the economy looking the way it is, the uncertainty with the US downgrade and so on. As an investment house, or wearing the investor cap, how do you see AIA in terms of its strategy in the next 2 steps at least?
Well, I think the investment element of our business is clearly a very significant and important one. I think you've got to look at again from a context point of view. We're a long-term investor. Our liabilities are longer term, and therefore we have the ability to invest longer term. And once we invest, we have the ability and the intent to hold that asset, certainly on the bond side till duration. So I think any short-term fluctuations, any short-term turbulence is not of significance to us. Clearly, longer term, if it has knock-on effects, then we rethink. But we've been in business for 90 years. We've seen economic cycles, good, bad, and indifferent. We've survived, and more than survived, we've prospered through all of them. This is another cycle. AIA remains incredibly strong in all aspects.
With the U.S. downgrade, the S&P downgrade of U.S. assets, the whole market went around, swirling around the world, looked for assets, and came right back and found that U.S. Treasury bonds are still the safest and the best assets. And not only that, the market moved more towards long-term investments in a sense. Do you think that was the right thing to do, or are there alternative asset classes that the market should have been looking at? And what has AIA been doing in that time?
I'm a great respecter of the market. I think the market finds the right level, and the market ultimately, with the information it gets, will make the right decision. So I think nothing that the market has done has been a big surprise.
And what is your investment strategy in the next 6 months or so?
I think we continue to look to match the liabilities that we create through writing insurance contracts. We look to match those both in terms of length and commitment, and I think that will continue. So there's been no fundamental change either in the way we think about investment or the strategic asset allocation benchmarks that we use.
At the same time, as a business, unlike banks and other sorts of financial services, you need to be local in just about every market that you operate in. And today you're significantly incorporated in countries like Singapore, in a number of Southeast Asian countries, in China and so on. Would your strategy or investment strategy in each of these markets differ from an overall strategy that you would be taking?
No, I think, as you say, we have a mix of branches and subsidiaries across the region. In reality, the subsidiarization in Singapore is putting into legal form the practice that we've been here for 80 years. So I think there's, again, no significance of this. We are deeply committed to Singapore, deeply committed to growing the business, and deeply committed to our customers and agents and staff here.